All right, welcome to the fundamentals lesson on prompt engineering. I've called this everything you need to know about prompt engineering. So the prompt is what you type into the AI to have it generate output. And we do prompt engineering so that we can get more accurate responses from the AI and so that we can actually achieve what we want from using the AI. So here is a basic prompt structure. The first thing is the context, which we talked about in the previous lesson, which is we need to tell the AI who the AI should act as, and we need to tell the AI who we are. Now, to complete the prompt, we also need to explain to the AI what the situation is and what the AI actually needs to do. Now, funnily enough, a lot of people actually leave off the last one, which is telling the AI what it needs to do, because they kind of feel like, well, I've told the AI who I am, who the AI should be, and what the situation is, and the AI should be able to work out the rest, right? Wrong. If you can explicitly ask the AI what it needs to do, that is better. And if you can explicitly provide structure and provide examples to the AI, that is even better, and you're going to get even better output from the AI. And you'll see this in the examples that we're about to go through. So let's look at the first one. And this is just an extension of the context from the previous lesson. So this one is about app development. The AI is an expert in SaaS app development. We're a novice developer. In this case, we want to create an app that passes job applications and resumes for HR based on hiring criteria. And we're doing something technical. We want to add a new applicant table to the database with a corresponding front-end view and back-end handling in terms of controller and model. And we want to know what's the easiest way to set this up. So let's hop over into Claude and see what Claude tells us. Okay, here we are in Claude, and I am just going to paste in exactly what we just saw. So you're an expert SaaS, novice developer, create an app. All right, let's run it and see what Claude comes up with. Okay, as it's running this, let's go through it. So Claude has said they're an expert in SaaS development. All right, the first thing is to create the model. That makes sense. The second thing is to run a migration, which commits this model to the database when you're building web applications. To create a form, okay. I'm not that familiar with Django, but that makes sense. Create the view, all right. That is probably the logic that is going to handle people typing into the form. Create the URL routes, okay, so people know where to go. Create the HTML file, which is going to be the front end for the application. And then Claude provides a nice little summary. Here's a basic structure for managing applicants in your Django app. To customize it further, you can add more fields, implement additional views, add authentication permissions. All right, that is exactly what we want the AI to provide us. And, this was actually for app development, this was actually a very non-specific prompt. If we added even more detail, like specific parts of our code, then Claude or the AI would provide us with even better output and more specific output for our particular needs. Okay, in this second example, this is the example where the AI acts as a business coach or mentor to a solopreneur. And the situation is that the solopreneur, or you, has been approached by a friend to form a partnership for a business, and we need some help deciding this is going to be a good decision or not. So the specific ask of the AI in this case is going to be, can you provide me with some prompting questions to help me think through the decision-making process? So let's see what Claude has to say. Okay, here we are in Claude, and I'm going to put in the prompt with the context here, and then with the situation here, and then with the question here for the AI. All right, I can help you think through this systematically. Let me ask you some key questions. Core partnership foundation, what skills at each business partner bring to the business, how complementary are the styles, history of working together, business alignment, financial consideration, operational track. Okay, these are all great starting questions that you would naturally need to do anyway if you're going to make this business decision. So what you want to do, if you want to use the AI to continue this thread, is you would actually answer some of these. You would list out the skills that you have, that your business partner has, how complementary they are, is there a history. You provide these to the AI and ask it for either more prompting questions or for business decision-making analysis. And that would be how you use the AI in this particular prompt. Okay, let's look at the next example, and this is the business data and analysis example. So the AI is an expert in using Excel. You're a BA in the telecom industry who has to sort through some organizational data. And here's a CSV file and let's see if the AI can help analyze this data. So let's hop over to Claude and see what it does. Okay, so here we are in Claude, and let me paste in the prompt. And I actually prepared a CSV file earlier that has some sales team data in it. And let's hit analyze. Okay, that's interesting. What the AI is actually doing this time is building a sales performance dashboard. That is not exactly what we want. So I am going to provide a additional prompt. To iterate on its analysis. Can you please use all the data for your analysis? No model is required at this time. Okay, this is what we want. We want overall performance metrics, sales rep performance, regional distribution, and industry analysis. So this is using the AI to perform business analysis. And as you can see, we can also ask the AI to build an interactive model. You don't need to worry about the code. You can just see the preview here, which is in the form of a dashboard. So here we go. Recommendations: investigate successful strategies, use it in the finance sector, focus on improving performance in the Southeast region where the win rate is 0, consider support training with lower win rates, so on and so forth. All right, I'm going to ask it for one more thing, which is, can you please help me create a model with sliders from this data? All right, I'm just going to pause the video while the AI generates this. Okay, here we are. Claude has generated an interactive dashboard with filters. You can edit the deal range size, you can edit the close range, the close time range, and you can see the revenue by region here on the chart and in a pie chart here. Okay, so that is the prompt for doing business analysis on, say, an external file like a CSV or a PDF using AI. Let's look at the next example. Okay, here we are in the final example for prompt engineering. And if you remember, this is the content marketing prompt. So the AI is going to act as a copywriter and content writer. And we're a marketing manager in charge of a brand called XYZ, which is a supplements company. And in this case, the situation is that we need to create a content calendar to promote across our social media channels, right? We believe that 1 post a day minimum is required. And we're asking the AI to draft a social media calendar for us. And we're going to provide it some extra context, which is that we are located in London in the UK, as an example. So let's head over to Claude and see what Claude does with this. Okay, and what Claude has decided to do is to create this as a document, very simply telling us for each social media channel, here's what we should do, and here are the weekly themes. So this is in the form of a standard operating procedure or an SOP, right? But what I actually want is more like a table. So let's see, can you put this into a calendar format or spreadsheet for me? All right, here we go. This is what we want. We want a Monday through Friday example calendar for the specific platform and media type, the time, the content type, the theme, and the description, and even hashtags, it seems. So this is, oh, and there's a checklist at the bottom, which is even better, and a monthly plan, which is fantastic. Now, if we wanted to continue with this, if this was a real work example, we would actually ask Claude to produce, week 2, week 3, week 4 as well to fill out the entire content calendar. And look, this is not something you can take and use right away, obviously, right? Like, even if you put in all the details for your specific brand, for your specific business, you are going to want to go through and edit it and align it with the actual real world brand and products. For example, you may not have magnesium in these supplements in the brand, so this would have to be swapped out for something different. But as a start, you are going to cut down on hours of planning and having to do this manually in Google Docs, Google Sheets, or Excel. And you can just take this and start with it and then continue building it into an actual social media content schedule. All right, now that we've looked at some example prompts, let's look at some best practices. So the first one is you need to be as accurate as possible with your prompts. And what you'll notice is that if you add extra information into your prompts or different information in your prompts, you can significantly change the output that the AI provides simply by having that information in there. The second thing is to save your prompts. So when you have a prompt, like any of the ones we just used that works, please save the prompt. I'm going to remind you about this throughout the course and at the end as well. But if you have a good prompt, save it. Put it in a Word document, put it in a Google Doc, put it in a text expansion if it's a shorter one, whatever it is. Save it so you can easily reuse it again and again without having to write it out or have to think about it every single time. Okay, just a quick side note as we finish up this lesson on prompt engineering. There is a function that you can pay for called Claude Projects and Custom GPTs, which are both in their professional plans. Now, projects and custom GPTs are beyond the scope of this course, and the reason for that is all the scenarios in the course that we're going to talk about do not require you to have projects or custom GPTs. If you want to know what they are basically quote-unquote custom AIs that you can set up that always have the same context, have the same situation put in, and also let you upload reference files, whether that's CSVs, project files, markdown files, pieces of code, whatever it is. And whenever you put a prompt into that custom AI, it will run the prompt as if the context, as if the situation, as if all the project files were being referenced. Now, like I said, all the scenarios in this course, none of them rely on project knowledge or rely on always having a preset context. So we are not going to cover projects and custom GPTs in this course. All right, that is it for everything you need to know about prompt engineering, and I will see you in the next lesson.